All right, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. My name is John Charlone. I'm one of the co-owners of Hummingbird Networks, and I'll be your host for this session. We've got a packed 30 minutes ahead, and you're going to hear from two Cisco security specialists, Colin Fissel and Darren Douglas, on how networking and security landscape is changing fast and what Meraki's newest innovations mean for you. A little bit of quick housekeeping. If you have any questions, please drop them in the chat anytime. We'll either stop or if, depending on what the question is, we may stop and just answer the questions, or we'll just queue them to the end. Either myself or one of the panelists will respond, and we'll also cover questions, like I said, as they come up. I know a few of you are here for more than just great insights. We'll be raffling off a Yeti cooler, which is pretty cool. To qualify, though, you need to stay until the end. And at the end, we have just a really small questionnaire that'll be presented right after the webinar ends. That'll pop up right on your screen, so don't run away. We'll email the winner in about 1 to 2 days, and you'll get your cooler soon after that. With that, good to see everybody. Let's get started. Colin, over to you.
John, incredible intro. Thank you so much for that. Again, I just want to echo that. Thank you so much for being here. You guys could be doing anything else, looking at cat pictures or cat videos, but you're here listening to me. I'm Colin Fissel. I'm based in Austin, Texas. I'm a cybersecurity specialist here, and Darren's my technical resource who is going to be able to talk a little bit further about what we're doing in Meraki that is new. So we got a lot in store today. Let's get started. In terms of the agenda, of course, we want to make it topical to what we told you, right? The new IT reality, you guys are living in it, right? Hybrid work, cloud chaos, nonstop threats that you guys are facing. Let's talk about why it doesn't cut it anymore, and why business as usual isn't obviously getting you where you need to be, right? And the next is Meraki's next big move. We are a tech company. We come out with new things and new features and quality of service, quality of life updates as well that make your life easier, right? And so why not check out what's going on with Meraki, and then also how Cisco Security can also layer on top of Meraki seamlessly. See how to turn Meraki's super simple networking into a security powerhouse with full visibility and protection. And how I want to really start is go into like recent events, right? And so with this, like what's going on today and what is being missed from these attacks, right? And so, one that actually happened, and it was February 2024, but it is still being written about. Alf V and Black Cat actually breached Change Healthcare, which is an electronic medical record company, all through an unauthenticated Citrix portal, right? So that led them to actually exfiltrate data, deploy ransomware, costing the parent owner group United Health actually an estimated around $11 billion total. That's a lot of money. And it literally just comes down to not having MFA gating one of their servers, right? Next, MGM Resorts. This was in September 2023, still being written about as well. The Scatter Spider and also Alfie used sophisticated social engineering to get the IT help desk to give them admin permissions, which led them to bypass MFA, enabling also to exfiltrate and deploy ransomware, costing them over $100 million in lost revenue, right? Something as simple as that, something that can easily check a little bit more unique identifying information about the person calling in, could have stopped that, right? And last but not least, I think the funniest thing about this, it's not a cyber incident. It is that Wikipedia, there's an actual Wikipedia article about this whole incident, but it damn near felt like a cyber incident, right? And it was really just because of a CrowdStrike sensor that didn't really agree with a Windows server. That was it. It wasn't a cyber attack, but it basically caused a widespread blue screen of death attack. And that just goes to show like how important network visibility and testing is before you really release anything into a production server. If only CrowdStrike really had some type of solution to test that update on a dual shadow plane before they pushed it live like a Cisco Hypershield, right? Really, I just want to highlight, it's tough for admins out there. It is tough. And the reason these things are happening that seems so simple to us, this is a live look of what a sysadmin is going through when they type into Google, they say cybersecurity software, right? Well, how the industry has been working, every time there's a new problem, there's likely a little cluster of security companies that spring up to solve that problem. While the quality of those solutions can be quite good, the problem with this is now it puts the burden on you guys to ingest that, both a new vendor and also a new tool, and it's really reaching a breaking point where it has Jared Goff freaking out, right? And so I hope this kind of rings true. And if anybody wants to add this to the woes of an IT admin, please do. This is kind of how I summed it up. There's too many agents, and managing numerous security and management agents on endpoints consumes resources, creates compatibility issues, really adds significant administrative overhead to your employees. Also, keeping up with patching, right? The constant influx, testing, deployment of these patches for a diverse system is overwhelming and really never ending for you guys, right? Cybersecurity fatigue, so many things are coming at you. How do you make sense of that? How do you prioritize that? There's new threats, high stakes pressure from management to maintain this kind of security as well, leading to this word's always really hard for me, desensitization, right? Leading to a little bit of that where, things coming in aren't necessarily registering with the sysadmins. The complexity of these tools as well, modern anti-malware solutions, they're powerful, but also very complex to really tune and interpret, really requiring a significant expertise to really avoid those misconfigurations or false positives. Last but not least is integration issues, right? Not everything's speaking the same language, and that you have a disparate security and operational tools. It's really challenging, that forces you to go through like a manual process, creating data silos and reducing visibility. I mean, I guess there's one more, right? You guys probably have heard of the threat and demands of AI, right? On top of everything, everyone is looking at you and your team to be the experts in AI, right? And so only to add to more of that, right, is, this IT landscape today, as you know, very distributed, right? Hybrid work is placing users and devices across multiple locations, applications, workloads spread across, the public, the private, multi-cloud. There's just so many, and also your own data centers, right? And all while the IT teams are tasked with protecting their organizations and delivering a flawless user experience, among this growing complexity, right? That's the expectation of you. And however, there's many reasons of why there's such slow response when it comes to any kind of threats that are in your environment. I mean, first and foremost, mediocre threat intelligence. Solutions are only as strong as the brain behind them. And I like to say, Cisco has the second largest threat intel group behind the NSA, and we also bought a data tool, Splunk, to make us more dangerous, right? With more information coming in. Next, a complex and fragmented architecture slows that distribution of threat signatures across that environment, which can actually lead your infrastructure being exposed with a long-winded, multi-step critical firmware upgrade, bringing your production servers down. And last but not least, needing that kind of specialist talent to configure and manage, making it prone to human error. At the end of the day, when there is a problem, you want a vendor that is vertically integrated as possible. You want to be able to sit down with one vendor to drive to a solution. I don't hear a lot of customers saying like, well, I'm glad I had an a la carte solution so I could bring in 10 different vendors to figure out the problem, right? We want to try and minimize that as much as possible, kind of leading to what we like to say, one throat to choke. It does have its benefits. But with that, I'd love for Darren to get into more of the Cisco Meraki platform and how it can help solve these kinds of challenges that you guys are going through. And again, feel free for you guys to add any other challenges that I haven't covered, because I love learning and John loves learning too. So,
Colin, could you do me a favor before Darren jumps on? Can you go
of course.
back one slide? I'm interested to see, I just popped something in the chat. Yeah, one more, the one where you had the 5 or 6 things that are really bothering admins right now. Yeah, that slide right there. If you guys could pop in on the chat, which number is the one that's just driving you guys crazy? Let's take a second to do that.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Integration issues, cybersecurity fatigue, man. Yeah, integration issues. Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
Cybersecurity fatigue. Lot of fatigue. Yeah. Who wants to talk about cybersecurity? Like every day we hear this in our life. It's just,
I live this
So
life, John.
I know, but still, so do I. But man, it's like driving us
One too many.
crazy. Every second
Yeah.
we're getting fished. Like who gets fished like 25 times a day? Like if you're not getting fished 25 times a day, something's wrong, I guess. But all right, cool. Thank you for all that. We can move on.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darren.
Yeah, Darren, I'll let you take it away right from here. I'll get you on the first slide here.
Perfect. Thanks, Colin. Thanks, John. So I was going to talk a little bit about, obviously, I think a lot of folks here probably know what Meraki does, and Meraki is obviously a cloud management platform, but the implementation of security on the Meraki platform encompasses both on-premise as well as cloud capabilities. And I'm sure many of you are in the situation where, some of your workloads is still on-prem, right? In the good old days, you knew exactly where your data was coming from and exactly where it was going to, but that's been a little bit shaken up now, right? So the beauty of Meraki is that we have the capability of handling both on-prem as well as cloud security implementations. I think there's a little bit more detail on the next slide, Colin. Not a ton more detail, but the best of both worlds, right? So that best of both worlds slide basically says that if you have specific workloads that are, say, in your private data center, you can use the Meraki on-box security capabilities to handle that flow on your own premise, as well as, say, you're going to more cloud-hosted applications, software as a service. That is also something that you can enforce the security going through a cloud mechanism for securing that traffic. So the next slide, Colin, talks about really the connectivity aspect of things, right? And so when we talk about connecting branches to a data center, and that's where really Meraki's security implementation started, right? The security at the branch location, effectively a UTM or a Unified Threat Management device or firewall with CASB and et cetera, being able to connect that connection over to your data center. And then we've expanded that up with the VMX or virtual appliance for cloud workloads, right? And so what we're saying, 3-click auto VPN, is how do you implement those connections, those tunnels, and secure them? You choose a topology, meaning do you want the branches to connect to each other branch, or do you want all those branch traffics to go back to your data center? You choose the topology, you specify what the hub is, you hit save, and your data is then encrypted between those sites. And you can also enforce security. Obviously, security policy takes a couple more clicks, but it's implementable on either those on-branch devices, data center devices, or optionally tying into our cloud security mechanism. So next slide, Colin, talks about beyond the management of those, we also have the capability of looking at those flows as they go across and the quality of those flows, right? I'll talk a little bit about the security monitoring as well, but one of those issues with having many diverse tools or having multi-vendor environment is that you have to look many places to see where those exploits may be coming from, right? So one of the beauties of Meraki is that we're integrating the networking and security and data traffic analytics all on a single dashboard. So this is basically saying, some of your low-level traffic monitoring, such as, loss latency, jitter across networks, and also if traffic happens to be impacted, one of the SD-WAN advantages is that we're constantly monitoring or probing that traffic and allowing it to switch over to a preferred path, right? So if maybe my MPLS link is congested, I can go around it via an internet link if that link is providing better traffic, and that provides also, as it notes, their self-healing or redundancy also. The next slide, Colin. And then the secure direct internet access is one of the, as I mentioned, if you've got cloud workloads or software as a service workloads, one of the advantages of the SD-WAN traffic is that an SD-WAN management capability in Meraki is that that traffic does not need to go up to my data center before going to Microsoft for that data workload, right? So I've got the ability to send that traffic out dynamically as the application dictates, and I'm able to use the best path for that traffic. So I can reserve that private data link, maybe if that's my, where my ERP traffic goes to, or maybe that's where my customer database is, and I don't want that publicly hosted. I can separate those two traffic flows and use the links for their best purpose. The next slide. And then obviously these boxes that do this, starting from the small office or small branch locations with the 67s, 50 users and less than a gig, all the way up to the 450, offering 10,000 users or 10 gig, right? Meraki kind of has a little bit of a stigma that it's only for small branches, but obviously we continue to push that. We're actually coming up with expanded devices on the top end that'll go up to as much as 20 gig later on this year. And then the cellular interface there, that's basically a cellular modem. We refer to it as the MG or gateway device. And that the beauty of that is that that provides you a very, very easy to deploy, redundant cellular operation monitored through the same dashboard, such that you can, offload some of that traffic to a carrier network very, very simply. And I think the next slide is on licensing, Colin. So I don't want to go into all the gory details on licensing, but a couple of things. If you click the next box there, so the basics are covered with what we call the enterprise license at the top. So that gives you firewall and network SD-WAN connectivity. If you need those security features, that's covered in the advanced security license, which is pretty straightforward, but IDS, malware, and URL filtering comes with that. And then the next level up is that SD-WAN level. So that gives you more sophistication as far as being able to handle those traffic flows, especially for that direct internet access capability. So if you're doing more SaaS things, that's really the place to go to for that. And then the performance-based routing, right? So I can do load management across those multiple paths. The next slide. And I wanted to touch on a couple of things that are really pretty new with regards to Meraki. So I don't know how many folks may be familiar with Cisco's acquisition of Thousand Eyes that was a few years ago now, but effectively Thousand Eyes is a traffic and application monitoring application that goes, from the low level of network performance all the way up to your application level. And really the sophisticated part is it's actually testing that physical workloads up where those workloads live. So if you look at the bottom right, the SaaS provider network and the service degradation in this case is showing up in that provider network. So usually if I'm just looking at the network, the network looks fine, right? It's all green. The red is coming in the provider network itself. So we're actually running an agent on the Meraki box that simulates traffic up to, in this case, looking at Microsoft's performance, and it says the problem is in Microsoft servers, right? So there's only so much you can do about fixing Microsoft servers, but this will tell you when that application is having a problem as a result of your own network or with Microsoft's application server. And then the next slide is calling out some of the new things that we're doing with respect to Cisco's extended detection and response, and specifically the secure cloud analytics. So that's an application looking at traffic security behaviors and tying that in with where that traffic is originating from the Meraki network, right? So it's using, as it notes there, AI and ML detection of threats and seeing how that correlates with where that traffic is flowing from. So I can say it's coming from Colin's location and it's a ransomware detection that originated there. So very, very easy to lock those applications down because I don't have to look in 2 or 3 or 4 different places. It's showing up directly in my Meraki dashboard. So those were some of the new things I wanted to talk about with Meraki. I'll hand it back to Colin.
So we had a SASE
case study.
Actually. Yeah, if you could take it, Jared. Yeah, you got it.
Oh, sorry about that. I forgot my case study slide. The case study here is with Qdoba, and their issue, as you see at the top, it was a best of breed situation. They had many different vendors in providing their security and networking solution, and what they saw as a result of going to a Meraki integrated solution was that they were able to obviously speed up their deployment times, as well as be able to respond quicker with less cost of keeping that network going, right? So the bottom line there, increased sales and better guest experience. I can put the link to that case study in the bottom, but it's a pretty simple application really. And obviously I think most folks are familiar with Qdoba and what they do, but retail, highly distributed environment, a lot of places for exploits to come from.
It sounds like one of their woes was tied to the slide earlier, an integration issue. It's always
Exactly.
good to see. All right, well, we got a few more slides left, so I'll kind of go through this. So I'm going to be talking about kind of Darren was talking about the new and improved, Meraki networking devices and how it works. I'll go into more so extending out to security, right? More of the SASE approach. And so really when I want to start this is just saying at its core, Meraki and really all Cisco solutions receive sophisticated threat intel, from Cisco Talos, right? And Talos is our threat intel group that I was just talking about, the second largest behind the NSA. Well, I just want to show you a little bit more proof in the pudding is how much we're seeing versus competitors. And so what I like to say is see more, block more. And just, with that, we use this information to apply across all of our security solutions to ensure that our customers are, of course, getting Talos applied to their network. So, and it could be as easy as just getting any security solution from Cisco. You can apply Talos Intel to it. So that's always good to hear. And with that, how do we do that, right? With Talos, Talos is getting pervasive within the branch architecture, right? Because everything's highly distributed, everything wants to talk to one another. We want to make sure, we could piggyback Talos Intel off of that, right? And of course, lo and behold, the outer rim is us. Us, yeah. So as in devices, users and devices, we want to ensure that whether it has a Cisco client or not, if it's touching the network, it is going to go through some kind of enforcement process, whether it's policy or content filter, it is going to be washed in line with that traffic, no matter if it's managed or not. So now with that, you can wrap security around your SD-WAN deployment within minutes. I've even done it. And what type of security, right? You guys are probably asking, well, everything that really falls into Secure Service Edge. What is Secure Service Edge? Really just the convergence of security in the cloud, right? Secure Service Edge, that's all it is. And the combination of what Darren was just going into, SD-WAN and SSE, Secure Service Edge, that is SASE, right? And you guys have probably heard it before. This kind of architecture, it's been out since I think 2019, early 2020. Requires really little to no hardware. Really just uses cloud technology, combining SD-WAN as we just talked about with those network security functions, including firewalls as a service, secure web gateway, cloud access security broker, ensuring applications that are being used are ones that are approved by you, zero trust network access, ensuring who is connecting to your resources is who they say they are. Really at the core of it, it gives you just way more granularity control no matter where your users are, instead of just relying on what Darren was saying, backhauling all that traffic on site to apply security. Sounds like a nightmare to me. Instead, instead of trying to purchase a larger edge device to receive that backhauled traffic, maybe just lessen that and rely on inline cloud services to get that done and help secure your employees, right? And in terms of SD-WAN, I think Darren kind of went into this. We can route that traffic a little bit more efficiently, more economical than MPLS in a lot of cases. And, we have that integrated security, quality of service, and performance monitoring in our solutions, in our SD-WAN solutions, with features like cloud on-ramp, app-aware routing. What this slide's really not showing is the Thousand Eyes piece that Darren was saying. With SASE, we're still getting that Thousand Eyes visibility to ensure host to destination. We're ensuring any hop there, if there's any breakdown, we know what's going on. Security fatigue, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, Colin. I was just going to say, I was curious to see if, when you see a slide like this, it's like everything what they just talked about, right? All these guys on the format here were saying like security fatigue, too many integrations. I'm curious from the folks on the webinar right now, who has already started a SASE journey already, or who's just starting, maybe you're in the middle of it, or like you got it dialed right now. Like where are you guys at? I'm curious. Pop that in there real quick. And then hopefully while you guys are doing that, you guys will see some of this stuff that Cisco's doing these days that will help that fatigue out. Although it looks like a lot of stuff, and it is. There's a lot of protection available. But the nice thing about it is that it all rolls up into one where it brings all those security vendors that we showed in the beginning. You don't have to deal with 50 security vendors. You're dealing with one or two or three maybe. So just something to think about. Joe used Thousand Eyes before. Yeah, Thousand Eyes is very interesting. Security fatigue, still in discovery. Some
Yeah, it's a
interested,
lot.
considering in SASE. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's not and Darren, and this isn't something you can do overnight, right? So this is a practice. This takes a minute to get going. Right. Let's talk about that for just a second, right? You should have a plan. Is that something you guys can talk about?
Like a sassy journey
Like a
in a way.
SASE journey plan. Yeah.
I mean, it's really, we're going off the cuff here. I mean, it's really up to you guys, the customer, right? It depends on what you guys already have in your environment, what you guys are using, and it's really the priorities, right? Do you guys got to secure remote workers sooner rather than later? Well, that's, more on the security side than really the networking side, right? If it's more of like, well, we need to be able to control remote locations from afar in a cloud managed console, well, then, it just depends on what I guess the customer really, you guys want to do. And we build into that, right? And John brings up a good point. We just really want to highlight the fact that no matter where you start at Cisco, there is a future-proof solution that can just wrap everything up into one and make your lives a lot easier and allow us to be more of the vendor that you guys go to solve, whatever networking or security solution that you do have. So it depends. That's such an engineer answer too, Darren, but I don't know if you want to.
Yeah.
You're not even the engineer, Colin, but yeah, I mean, it is a modular approach that you can take with it, right? And what I've seen from the Meraki perspective is that I mentioned before, it was really a branch to data center solution initially, but then we roped in the SD-WAN component, and then the cloud security component is something that you can basically just tack on as, more of your traffic is cloud relevant, so to speak, as maybe you're moving apps out of your data center and hosting more of them in the cloud, or you're more concerned about the cloud security or the security of those cloud workloads, you can sort of modularly add to that capability either via, a higher level of Meraki license for more sophistication, or adding capacity to SSE, which is effectively, I'm offloading some of my security from my branch to branch and branch to data center to my branch and data center to cloud traffic, right? So it is something that can be modularly built and grown upon.
Right. And this is a huge conversation around SASE. So if anybody wants to continue that, we certainly can. Just drop myself or Melanie. See, Melanie's here. Melanie, a lot of the customers here are fall within Melanie and Frankie's area of expertise here at Hummingbird Networks. Please feel free to drop them a line and say, hey, I just want to talk about it more. We just want to talk. I'm thinking about SASE. Maybe you can guide me in a plan. That's all what we're talking about. So
You
great.
just tastefully wrapped it up for me, John. I just did a time check. I just saw, so I appreciate that. The last thing I want to leave you guys with, we really have we have a few flavors for Secure Service Edge. Really, I mean, I suggest you guys to talk to John, but it's really, providing security over the internet or providing a full-on security solution, whether it's, a user trying to get to private data center, private resources or not. We have a bunch of different flavors. That's why we always encourage you guys to talk to John and team, and that can connect you with Cisco folks as well to really talk through this a little bit more with you guys. So more than happy to do so. I appreciate everyone for being here. John, if you want to wrap it up, I will stop talking.
Yeah, it's more of like, I just want to, before I wrap it up, just a couple of quick, not quick, but couple of interesting, direct questions that I got. And one of them's about AI. And I know everybody loves AI, right? In one way or another. I know this is a very loaded question, but again, if you want to discuss this further with any of us here at Hummingbird or Cisco, let us know. But what is Cisco doing around AI in regards to security? Now, again, loaded question, but maybe you can give us some high level on what's coming up and how to make all our customers on this webinar here, how to give them some hope of this fatigue, give them some hope of all this vendor sprawl and tool sprawl and all that. So give us some hope.
Yeah, I heard we're about to change our name to Cisco.ai, I heard. No, I'm just kidding. So it's really two-pronged, and Darren, keep me honest here. It's really users using AI tools, and it's really companies producing their own AI tools, right? And so When it comes to producing your own AI tools, it's ensuring that the data that is being, of course, studied upon by your LLM is ensuring that it's not poisoned, right? We make sure that anything that is touching, that data repository that the language model is training on, that there's nothing touching that to ensure a clean data set. And then, of course, users using ChatGPT, ensuring that personal identifying information is not being fed through that, because let's face it, guys, as well as I do, employees are the #1 cybersecurity risk. So it's really securing users and securing businesses from creating their own AI applications. Darren, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, especially for the security of the AI workloads, you're 100% on target there, Colin. I would say kind of to the tool fatigue and the security exploit fatigue, that's something that we're really applying AI to networking and security as well, right? So securing AI workloads is one thing, but securing the network via AI is something that we're very much working on as well. We have tools such as the AI Assistant and Meraki Dashboard to start with that, but we're also working on solutions such as Cisco Secure Cloud Control, which is going to aggregate more of that security traffic from multiple sources, and including third-party sources for customers that aren't 100% Cisco or 100% Meraki, where they've got a single place to look at those security exploits and be able to respond more effectively.
Thank you for mentioning that. I know that's a loaded question, so sorry to cut that short. But one last question, trials. How can I get a trial? That's a question that always comes up in these. And I'll answer that one because it's very, 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 very easy. If you want a trial for anything we talked about, any Cisco hardware or Meraki hardware, right? So say you got security dialed, okay? You want to do now cameras, or you want to do IoT, you want to do sensors, you want to do switching, right? Your time to blow out your old 10100 switches and pop in some multi-gig switches. We can help with that. You get brand new equipment, not been used, not been demoed. It's your equipment. If you decide you like it, you keep it. There's no charge for any of the hardware to get shipped. We don't charge for shipping. We'll cover the shipping back if you absolutely need to send it back. No credit cards. We'll get it off to you, whatever you need. That's the hardware piece. Same thing with any of the licensing. So if you're looking to maybe demo one of the licenses or any of these SASE pieces, or secure email security, VPN, I mean, just name it. There's probably about 30 different security pieces that you can demo. Please let us know. Doesn't cost you a dime. It's a 30-day trial. We'll get that out to you. Just let us know. It could be 20 users, 50 users. You want to do 100 demo licenses, no problem. You want to do demo license for your entire organization, we can do that too. You like the full stack, you want to you're not a Meraki customer. I know most of these people on this webinar are our customers, but if you're not a Meraki customer, there's a couple of you that aren't on here, you want to test anything at all, you want to test the whole thing, I want the whole stack, we can help you there too. So just wanted the guys to let you know that's how you would get those trials. Just reach out to Melanie, reach out to Frankie, reach out to me. I'll drop my email right now into the chat, and reach out to me, and we'll get you going. That's my email address. So just real quick as a recap, thank you, Darren. Thank you, Colin, for sharing those insights for us today. Just a quick recap here. We covered, really just scratched the surface, everybody, about why the old security playbook just doesn't work anymore. We're in a hybrid world now, and like we talked about Meraki, we just touched it, some of these Meraki's latest innovations to help your network strengthen it, and how Meraki really gives the IT leaders the security advantage. But before we wrap up, don't leave yet. When we're done, we're going to just shoot a quick questionnaire that'll pop up on the screen. Please it literally will take you 10 seconds to just answer those questions for us. And then you'll qualify for the Yeti cooler, and hopefully you guys will win one of those Yeti coolers. They're pretty awesome. I know it's kind of the end of the summer, but you know what? It's tailgate season now. Bring it to the tailgating parties. Do whatever you got to do. And if you want to learn about anything else, please contact us. No pressure. We're just here to help. Just give you some answers. Thanks for joining us today. We love our customers, and thank you so much. And we hope to see you guys in the next session. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.